Howdy guys, how you doing? This is ArtsyWisdom. My name is Diane. Thank you for coming by. Today I am feeling better. I'm back in my old surroundings, which is nice, feels comfortable. Have my microphone, got my computer. I had Francisco ask me about Tesla and the stock and the quarterly, they're losing money. And so I'm going to do a reading on that, a tarot card reading on Tesla tanking. I'm also going to use some intuitive hits and I'm going to look at that. I also looked at Ghislaine Maxwell to see what kind of deal and how she's going to take it and where she's going to run with it. Hint, hint. Also, Pete Hegseth, he seems to be causing all kinds of trouble in the first 6 months of his reign at the Pentagon. He's got people resigning and fighting. And so I'm going to look into him too, to see his energy. I think I told you already. He's been hitting the sauce, back hitting the sauce. I also, I forget who asked me again. But I had said last time I was going to look at Chuck Mangione and Ozzy Osbourne. Today I looked into Chuck Mangione and he is early stages. So early stages of his recovery on the other side. So I'll tell you what I got, but it's not very thorough. But then guess who shows up? Elvis. Elvis is really, really interesting. I have never seen anything like this. So I'll share with you about that, about him. And then I had one of my viewers, I have a couple of people in the UK and Scotland talk about Trump being over there at his golf courses. I'm so sorry. I'm so very sorry. I know we usually take our trash out to Thailand or something, or they ship it on barges, but you guys got it. I'm so sorry. I apologize profusely. And he, I'm sure, is trying to save. I think that place was going under. I don't know if it still is. But anyway, I'm going to look into his relationship. There's the talks, the trade talks with EU and Canada, which, watching the Canadian news this morning, are not going very well. Because I think with the group, with the panel or the envoys talk about, and what he says are two different things. And I know everything is set to go on August 1st, but what we know now is he's a taco. He doesn't ever do what he says he's going to do, right? So 1,000 things can happen before now and then. All right. I think that's it. Oh, yeah. And then I'm going to end on what's right. What I feel is right now. Because I'm needing a little positive pep boost. And hopefully it'll help you guys too. Okay, let's get started. So I partnered with a company called Otter Spirit, and they have wonderful bracelets, and they have some jewelry now. They use high-grade natural crystals and gemstones and natural materials, AAA grade. And I'm wearing some now. And you can set an intention. If you go on their website, you can say, I want something to activate my third chakra or my fourth chakra. You can think about your zodiac sign. You can think about the moon. Like right now, the moon is in late Leo, almost to Virgo. And that's my sun sign is right in that ballpark. So it comes with this little box, and I thought, I'm going to wear the sunstone. And they have these little Otter Spirit metal clips on there, and they're very pretty. And this one is sunstone, and it's about confidence. I take actions every day to achieve my dream, so there's an intention. And it shows the zodiac signs and the intention. So today I'm working on confidence after being sick. But it comes in this pretty box with a pouch and everything, so it's a nice gift. Anyway, it's a really good company and they last. So if you want to look in my description box, there's a discount code. And they also have different sizes. I got these. These are the smaller ones. They call them the minis. And this is different variety. I think this is, I don't know. I can't remember. Lapis lazuli, red jasper, a citrine, and I can't remember this one. But anyway, thought I'd share, you guys. And then they're going to send me, I'm getting a new, they're starting off with these chakra packs where you get, for each chakra, you get 3. It comes in a 3-pack. And I'm going to share with you what I get with those pretty soon when I get them. All right. So let's start with Tesla. First of all, thanks again. You guys are awesome. Great comments. You're awesome. About me being sick with COVID. You're just so sweet. And I just love it. Thank you. If you feel like you find something of value here, don't forget, please subscribe. Check and see if you're still subscribed. Sometimes YouTube drops you off. Yeah, I'm going to continue to do this here. Hopefully for the next couple weeks, things will slow down. Today we're supposed to go on the boat. hopefully I'll do that. Anyway, okay. Tesla. I'm going to pull some cards. Tesla is... I know Elon and Trump said he's wanting to make up with him, the Muskmelon. But Elon pushed back and said, forget it. Because I think in that big, beautiful bill, they cut out all the subsidies or the, tax write-offs for energy, clean energy. They took them all out. So cars like Tesla or companies that have solar or wind, or they don't get any of that. So it's going to put a lot of those companies under, because like I've said in the past, oil and gas is the future. We need to go back to dinosaur times and take all that oil out of the ground. Both can be true. We can have both, but yeah. And as I'm sitting here, I wanted to remind you guys, things seem bleak, like we're just going down a hole. It's a cycle. We're going to get through this. Pluto is moving through Aquarius. People have been rising up, so things will go back. Congress can change laws. We can do this. I know right now it seems scary, but all right. Elon, I'm just going to do this. Tesla. I'm seeing a green. So green is healing, but also green cars, green. That could be part of it. Tesla. Yeah, I have a couple clients that have bought stock in the past and they wondered about it because I know it's dropped off. I'm not a financial advisor. Just remember that. Don't take anything I say of value. Use it in your decision-making process. You know what? I'm reminded of what I saw in the past, where there's something where I don't know if the word is divert, the way the company is structured, where they separate, I don't know if it's departments, vehicles, or, because I know they have so many things like driving cars, and then the Teslas, and then the cyber trucks, and I know there's lots of space. I mean, not SpaceX, but there's a lot of different things that are all part of that. And I think in the past I saw them separate everything to help. You think that would be more cost, it would be inefficient cost-wise. But I think it has to do with how they get money, something like that. Okay, let's just point blank. Financial quarterly. Today is July 26th. Probably post this tomorrow. Tesla. Oh, this one. Judgment. So this is where we're at. It's at a judgment period. It's a cross. And it's a crossroads. And this is 2, and it's Pluto. And over it is the devil. So this is somebody, it could be the Muskmelon, it could just be greed. Shocking. Ace of Wands, there's a new idea coming up. There's an inspired idea, and it could be something like what I'm saying. But in the past, there's another beginning. So we've Ace of Swords, really bright thoughts. But I think, you know what this is? This is the original idea. This is the thing that breaks the rules, that he or whoever I've been corrected that he's not a genius. I don't know what his IQ is. I thought it was like in the 140s, but maybe that's not a genius. So just take it with a grain of salt. But the inspiration behind all this, that was the beginning. And the base of it is fear. And we've got grief. We've got a lot of sadness that things aren't going the way they should. I'll try and keep my microphone close because I move too much. The near future. Okay, we've got, I don't know what he is. He's very airy, though. The Muskmelon. This is a solid emotional man, or leader, or somebody. Or it's actually, I feel like it's more about a situation that's emotionally stable. Okay. So that's in the near future. So that makes me feel like the financial part is not going to go, oh, crazy. And then others see that situation as the Wheel of Fortune, which is always nice. But it is a seasonal card where you have to wait for things to come around. So it could be a cycle where these different parts have to be moved in place. And like I was thinking, and I'm sure there's other words that I'm missing, that's financial accounting things. And then we've got fast movement, the chariot, which is cars, transportation. And then we've got the Six of Swords, which is moving on. So, and then the final outcome is Five of Pentacles, which is feeling like you're on the outside and you don't have enough money. So it was doing really good, but that was the final outcome. Let me see if there's something else in the Empress. I think it's going to be in flux for a while. That's my feeling. It is a Wheel of Fortune, and you've got things moving, and you have the company has a lot of resources. But I almost feel like it's built on nothing that's solid, if that makes sense. I know it is. There's buildings and structure, but there's something that is, when a person gets osteoporosis, the bone gets all porous like that. That's what I feel like underneath is porous. But there's an Empress, and that's about abundance and cultivating creation. It's the ultimate creation. It's motherhood. It's earth. So it could be some revision of, maybe it'll be trimming down what their goals are for the company, changing your vision statement. I think they're going to have to go through some changes, serious changes. But I feel like the parts are there. It have to be reconfigured. I think maybe one more quarter of downturn, maybe two, and then it's going to come back up. But what do I know? All right, guys. He's just too much of a, Elon is too much of a, he wants to protect the company, but his moods and his, the ketamine states of extremeness get him making choices and decisions based on whatever that happens that day or anger. See him being friends yet. Back together again, Elon and Trump. Now, if Trump comes out or the Congress says we're going to give you, and I could totally see if Elon lobbies somebody and says in the back rooms and says, give me these subsidies back, somehow claw back something and put it in this fund. Totally, everything will be fine. But for right now, I don't see that. Pete Hegseth. I saw him, I think I said that at the beginning, that he is imbibing excessively. And it is a matter of time before that's going to be part of the downfall. He is going to get out. He is not a good leader. He is a good, maybe second soldier, maybe a sous chef. Maybe he's too high of an ego for a sous chef. Maybe he'd want to be chef, but I think the restaurant would go out of business. I do feel like, I sometimes see desserts as people, or people as desserts. And I see him as like something flambéed, not like a Bananas Foster, but something with rum. Well, Bananas Foster, what's the orange one? Anyway, I see something flambéed and not cold, but hot, and a lot of booze on it, very boozy. Anyway, yeah, he might be on fire here soon. Not literally, but fired. He might get fired too, but I think it's not long. It's not for long. Yeah, Seven of Wands. He's fighting really hard. He's fighting really hard, but you can see all those wands are falling off the cliff. And this guy at the top thinks he's got it all under control. Four Pentacles. 4 months, maybe 4 weeks. They're going to catch him making huge mistakes, and then Trump will have to let him go. They'll say he was wonderful and he retired and he did a great job, but it was something like that. All right. The talks, I know this isn't the most exciting thing, is the trade talks. Because I think what they said, Canada, they were doing well. And he's like, well, no, everything's going to, August 1st, I might put everything back to where we had it. They're going to have a high aluminum steel tariff. That just is a no-brainer, I think. I wish not, but I think that's going to continue at like 20%. I think Japan left, is it 15 or 20? You guys will correct me. Will he keep it on August 1st? August 1st for Canada. I hear the word maple syrup in my head. There is something, it's very white. I don't know what it's a bubble around it. So there is something with August 1st. Of course, that's the due date. It doesn't feel hard. The heart line doesn't feel hard. I feel like it might be pushed farther a little, or they'll have a partial agreement and something else has to be determined later. Like they'll say, okay, so far we have this and this and this, but we can't agree on this. Something like that. But I hear, or I read, I could be wrong, that Canada's, even though there's not selling as much American booze up here, so their local or nationwide Canadian brewers or distilleries they're making more money. I believe it's been a good thing for Canada, I think. But people like what they like. Sometimes they don't. Yeah. So have faith. It's going to be okay. You know, Canada's the North. Was it the North Star? What's the shining north? So that's good. I think it's going to not be great. The tariffs are going to suck. And several businesses or several industries, probably lumber, maybe dairy. But they're going to bypass with the car thing. The car problem, you know, where they build it on here and then they bring it back to the States and add something else and that goes back to Canada and does something else and then they send it. There's something with that's going to be sanctioned or outside of the tariff situation. EU, I feel when I looked into that, the energy was of all of Europe and combining forces against the Trump tariff tragedy. I feel like they're not as and also about the Ukraine, they're not as, it doesn't feel as positive like it used to feel. Originally everybody was like, yeah, they're going to pull together, but I feel like there's not as much money that they thought either they had, or I'm talking about all of EU to combine forces. Okay, I'm mixing two different things. Let me just separate the tariff and the all the different countries. Wow. It's complicated. That actually doesn't feel that bad. Actually, the tariff thing for the EU doesn't feel that bad. Feels like it's going to be tolerable. And I don't know what countries will have the worst parts of it. I couldn't tell you. But when I guess I was thinking about Ukraine, I think that I know there's a lot of building up of munitions, machinery, planes, jets, tanks, guns, whatever it is. And I feel like the money that is going to take, there's something about that. It feels deficient. Like they thought they were going to do this. Or maybe people pledged so much and they can't do what they said they were going to do. I do see more flooding sweeping through Spain, east of Spain to Italy, France. No, that makes no sense. Between France and Italy, down that way somehow. Greece is popping in my head, but I know that's not there. I know that's not there. So, but it feels like there's something about Greece too, and France and Italy flooding. Makes no sense because they have super duper heat, but we'll see if I'm right. But I see lots of water running through there. Hopefully it's short-lived. Oh yeah, Gaza. It's just the most sad, most horrible situation. Man-made situation. Israel, or Netanyahu, because he's a corrupt, evil person who's staying in power and keeping the war going because he wants to have all of Gaza. He does. He wants to have it He wants to take it over. And he's using this war or Hamas or whatever. They're terrible atrocities that Hamas did. Absolutely. But he's using that and perpetuating. And all these poor kids are starving. People are starving. And they keep shooting at the food sites and the aid places. And it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. You know, back in the early 80s, I think it was it Ethiopia? There was in Africa, there was a massive starvation. Something like that. It reminds, I don't know, it's not the same, but it reminds me of that. Huge, massive starvation. I know, I hate to see kids starving. It's just, and it's not necessary. It's not necessary. All right. Let's send a love and not light, but love and richness and food and abundance and mercy to all the people in the area. Please allow them to find it in their heart to give and to be compassionate in all ways, every day, to all these people. And imagine the big opening up of a path where these trucks and vehicles or food is just coming in. Let's all try and open that up. And I know it's just energy, but I think energy it's a real thing. Ask the science guys. Energy is something. Anyway, so let's open that up and imagine everybody getting food and full and fat. Whew. Thank you. Amen. Okay. Let's move on to Ghislaine Maxwell. If you guys remember last video, or 2 videos ago, I saw Todd Blanche coming to her, and the offer was this short, dark wall, and she just basically leaped over it, meaning it wasn't that hard of a ask. And so now when I go into her energy to see about this, limited immunity they've decided to give her, I know there's a concern about her having a pardon, which is way not out of the question. And all of this is tinged with corruption or deep in corruption, festering with corruption. But she also is willing to give up 200 names or something, I think, for that limited immunity. The thing is I realize he always keeps layers, like mob bosses do. They keep layers, can't get blamed for things. So she's going to get the heat because she's not talking, or she's the bad person because she's not saying it. So they can put it on her. I would open the files, but I can't because it's all closed still or whatever. So it's either Bondi or, Kash Patel, whoever, or blame the Democrats, Obama, whatever. And now I think there'll be something with her because she's the bad guy, right? So there's something with that. I think he's putting her on the hot seat, as they say. Desperate. She is so desperate. She really wants to get out of there. But when I close my eyes and I see her leaping over that wall, she's like gone. She's ready. She's moving as fast as she can. And they're like turned to watch her go. Does she lie? Of course. That I don't even have to be intuitive to know that. She's going to manipulate the situation. Oh my gosh. I feel like once she's out, because at some point she will be. I don't know if it may not be right now. I think there can be a step-by-step process. Things will be put in place to justify it. And I think eventually she will be. And I feel like she's going so far away and so darn deep into some sort of rabbit hole. Nobody will ever find her. I think that's the plan for her. I don't think her life is in danger. Not now. No, not now. But down the road, it's quite possible. But we'll see about that. Okay. Chuck Mangione. His horns, I I don't know if he played a flugelhorn, French horn, trumpet, probably all of the horns. But I feel like his music was always on the radio as I was growing up. And it was very melodic and smooth and very jazzy, obviously. But when I got into his energy, I saw this the other day. I felt like he was flying around in colors, and it feels fluid, like he's flying in a way. But it also he feels free. There was something at the end, and I don't know if he was sick or what, because I think he was 84, 85, or maybe I don't know. He's in his 80s. But he feels free. So something near the end, he felt limited, because the sense of freedom that I get when I'm in his energy is really beautiful. He feels like he was released from whatever that was. Now, when I get into his soul, if you guys haven't been here, I get into people's energy on a soul level, also on a personal, incarnated level, that what they were in this life, the lesson they were supposed to learn, or could share with us the lessons they did learn or could have, and on a soul level where they are, what they want to share with us. There's a lot of that information. But when I got into him, I felt like he wasn't ready for that. He was zipping around, and he was not ready to tell me about lessons, because I think he's still in the recovery phase. He's still in the adjustment. And he's not unhappy. He's very happy to be free. Like I said, let me check my notes here. And I got he said something about dad. There's something with his dad that he's happy. I think his dad is there, and he's happy to see his dad, even though he hasn't gone to the Council of Light. There's something with his dad. He's reunited with his dad. And I don't know if they were close or unclose, or, a lot of times when you're not close in a relationship on the earth, and then you get to the other side, they're part of your spirit family, and they are there to love you again. And it's none of the ego is there, and all this stuff is forgotten, and it's just the pure love. Anyway, so he reconnects with dad. But I also saw Cheech and Chong. I have no idea. Maybe it's his hair and his beard, but there's something with Cheech and Chong. I don't know if he was friends with them, or it was just the 70s kind of thing. But they're still here, obviously. I know that. But there's something with him and Cheech and Chong. Maybe he worked with them, or I don't know. Now, this was interesting. So he showed me this. He's still not where he's supposed to be, but he showed me, like, a river is a symbolic. If you guys ever have a dream where you're driving a car, that's your life. A lot of times that means your life, the road is your life, and you're driving. And if you have bumps or you can't get there, well, you feel frustrated, and that's your mind, your subconscious trying to work out the issues. Well, river is kind of the same thing. The river flows, and you go with it, and go with the river movement, and you don't fight it. You're going upstream or downstream or whatever. Well, he shows me this motion where he's next to a river, again, because it's that swirly thing, like up in the sky. But I don't know if you guys know that, when you're at the ocean, this is more like the ocean, where you take sand and you get really wet sand and you dribble it on the ground, and it stacks, it drip, 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 and you kind of make a stack, and it's really uneven and blobby, but you can make a castle if it's water. So he's doing this. He's taking the water from the shore of this river, and he's just scooping it and just boop, 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 and he's making this kind of semi-structure thing, and he's showing me this, and I'm like, and he's telling me this, and it's so sweet. His energy is just very, I don't know, not soft or tender, but just easy. That's the feeling, easy. I don't know what he was like in real life, but now he feels very easy. But I said, well, what does this mean? And he's saying that life, we create these illusions out of stuff that could be washed away. We think we're building hard structures. We build stuff on earth. But he's saying it's just water, and crystals and sand and pebbles, and it's all part of the cycle. And he's like, it'll be washed. It's just an illusion. He's basically saying, just go with the flow or relax and let go of the control, I think, too, is part of it, which was a lovely sentiment. So it's more like being present instead of got the goal, got the goal, got the goal, which I know a lot of people need goals, but this is a situation where I think it's overly wanting to be in control. But he said, life is short. Life is short. And I think when I got into his energy, it's like that. His life was here like a microsecond fraction. So he's saying, you build all that, then it's done. This life, you build it, then it's gone. So just be present, be here, be now, which was a nice thing. And then his mom came to mind. I don't know if they had a relationship or what, but I felt like there was something there that he had to deal with. Of course, I don't know, no big deal. But yeah, lessons are not figured out yet. So there you go. Chuck Mangione, Elvis. I didn't expect to go there. And I'm not sure if I can explain to you what the images are. They're not super nuts, but they're so different. Sometimes people have gone to other planets or other universes, or they're sitting in rocks. It doesn't matter. His energy, like Prince was the same way, where sound and resonance and vibration was part of their experience, and the music somehow touched their soul, like vibrated through their soul, and they learned that was part of their lessons here or part of their karmic pattern and it felt really good with him. Okay, so it's hard. I know he came from these country people in Tennessee. Yeah, Graceland. Yeah, or Nashville, or near there. I forget, somewhere in Tennessee. And I hear one for the money, two for the show in my head. But he's not, I know it's been like 50 years since he died. He like 77, 80, somewhere in there. But he came from, I see this sharp, pointed divot in the earth, but way down, not like a mine shaft or anything, but a sliver kind of with a dark line. And he's like in there, and he was there. That's where he came from, his soul or his fraction of light. He had been sitting in there or just resting in that spot for millennia or thousands of years, whatever it was. And why did he come out then? It had to do with that perfect timing with sound and music, which resonated with his soul particle. Because like Laura Nero and was it Janis Joplin? I forget. So a couple people have been fractured souls where they're in two different places. They're in two different lives after they've left here. They have to match back up because of life has, they had to recover. I know it doesn't make sense, but that's how it is. It feels like he was in two parts. I see two different lines in the sand, but they're deep. Like if you took not even a shovel, but it's deep. It's like, I feel like it's 10 feet deep, which I have no idea. But he came from there and he came in, he was waiting, sort of kind of waiting to enter into a time with a time and feel this vibration, feel this music, feel this energy. And then I'm remembering how the dancing, which got him kicked off the air and stuff, or got him censored and stuff. That is something to do with it. I know it sounds weird, but there's the vibration of his body and the dancing. It was like moving through him. It was like those people, in churches do go tongues, whatever, dancing with tongues or whatever. Anyway, it reminds me of, not like weird like that, but it's like it was almost like he was cleansing his soul with the movement and the resonance and the vibration and the sound. He was trying to reactivate, because he's so earthly or so heavy, his density, because he was in this place, that he came to lighten up and open. And this music was that tool. And he's not that, I don't feel like he's super evolved like an angel where he's in there and he came. I think he learned a lot in his soul, but he went back, not in that spot, and he's not as heavy, but he is, this is what his deal is, but he's not all together. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe one part of him has to heal over here and one part has, and he gets to the point where he can put the pieces together. I know, weird, right? Let me make sure. Deep in a hole, jiggling, young. Oh, and then I saw him as young, the youngest version of himself, you know, black leather. And was it 69 when he came back? Real big. Was it Hawaii, I think, or something? He was wearing that black leather suit. He was good looking, man. Anyway, I see him as that. And then I see him with Lisa Marie, but she's a child. She's like a little girl. And they are in the same soul family. So they're together. So I don't know, how could he be there showing me this? I think it's just symbols. But his soul, the fraction of his soul is in 2 parts. And he's back down to the earth. Now, he is buried at Graceland, I think, isn't he? Or maybe he's buried somewhere else special. But that's the other thing. He's being held here by people. People don't want him, have not wanted him to leave. They, just by the energy of them loving his music and loving him and just reliving his life, there's something about that where it's attached to him as well. And that keeps him kind of in the earthly realm. I know it doesn't make sense, but his fraction of light, it's very earthly. It's sort of in rock, but it's not. It's sort of in like sand. It's loose, but he's in there. Let me make sure I get this. Way in the ground, went back. Oh, yeah. And it was like, you know, the tarot card Temperance. He was combining water and earth. Or is it water and air? No, water and earth. Same like Chuck Mangione with the water and the sand. Very interesting. And then the magician or the magi, they have all the tools of the tarot deck, the writing, alchemy, you know, all the intuition, physical things, making things, thinking, all of that. He was able to combine all those. He was a magician in a way through that life. If he was in a greater, like if he was all connected, oh my gosh, he would be all powerful, like, not godlike, but even more powerful. He has so much oomph in him. He had so much skill and, dogs walking by, so much skill, and he brought into this life, or he incarnated into that life that had that skill, and he blew it up. So he's still in 2 pieces. There's something about what the other part of him he has to pull together. But magician, he was an alchemist and temperance. And then he said, I went to that life and I was tenderhearted. He went into that life where he was a tenderhearted little boy. And the fans, I think I told you, keep him here. But I got the energy of that life, and it was bumpy. He said, due to the lack of his soul knowledge. Like I said, he has all this ability, but the parts aren't together. Does that make sense? So he's got his soul on his soul level. He did amazing, right? But there was bumpiness because of, it wasn't straightforward line. It was more like, it was great, and then it peered out over here, and I can't put this. It was like he's disjointed in a way. That's why the drugs and stuff, he was sensitive. He was just so tender-hearted, and his soul was growing in that life as Elvis. I know that sounds super weird. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. But is there anything? No, he's just here. That's so weird. He has nothing like very highly evolved wisdom to share with us. Well, he's showing me that everything and every day is, and it's like this knowing in every moment is the universe. Every single moment. That's why miracles can happen in any second. He's showing me everything is embedded with the universe. I know it sounds weird. So you can manipulate it or you can make it into what you believe to be true. And that's what you can do. So if you find what you see isn't the reality, what you believe in and what's in your heart is the reality. So all is possible. Isn't that crazy? All right. Let us finish with what is really positive. Wanted to end on something positive because a lot of things right now are scary, and I know a lot of people are concerned about government programs and people have lost their jobs and wars and things. But I wanted to list a few things that I came to mind, and you can tell me if you think it helped you or not. The one good thing about this is Trump and his clan and his racist clan and class denying clan, because they want to destroy the lower class or the middle class. We're banding together. It's creating a unity that wasn't around before. It's a blessing in a very dark cloud, but we are banding together. We're learning how to do this again because we lost track, because many people took me for one, democracy for granted, institutions for granted. And so because we can't anymore, this has woken us up. So I see people coalescing, banding together. So I do see that happening. So it's slow, but it's happening. So I'm grateful, and I think that's a really positive thing. We're spiritually and ancestrally supported. Our forefathers and angelic realms, they're all watching over. They're all supporting us because the truth always rises to the top. Right now, it feels like we're fighting in the mud, but the truth and right always wins. And I know that. And they are helping us through that, because that's about having faith and believing. But you have to do the work, obviously. Real work in the real world. But they are energetically and spiritually with us. The forefathers, all the people that created this country, our ancestors, people from the native, indigenous lands, people. Right. It doesn't matter as long as it's right. The right, the truth, goodness and truth always eventually wins. Light always wins. And that's what I'm grateful for. And then our side note, our Saskatoons, which are berries, these kind of like blueberries, but they grow on taller trees, and they're a little bit harder, and they're not as, blueberries can get tangy. They're smaller, a little seedier, but great pie, great pancakes. People make syrups and jams and stuff out of them. Great crop this year. We haven't had that big of a crop in years. So bags and bags of Saskatoons in our freezer. I'm grateful for that because I haven't seen that. Why this year? I don't know, but great crop this year. So I'm really happy with that. I'm going to make pies. I'm going to make pancakes. I don't make too much jam or syrups, but I'm even going to toy with making I have this cake, an upside down cake. I think I'm going to make that too. Because our visitors, so the third thing I'm happy about is we're having all this company coming at the end of August for 4 days. An old college roommate, my college roommate had just barely kind of got back in touch with her and saw her last year. And they're going to come on and travel. They're in Ohio coming up. We're going to spend 4 or 5 days here. And then my good friend, also another college friend of my best friend for 40 some years, she and her husband are coming up and we're going to show them around. And he hadn't been in Canada for decades, so it'll be fun for all of us. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful that I got over COVID. I'm grateful if you guys are being healthy. I'm grateful I send love and light and health and healing your way, abundance, prosperity, openness to all that is infinitely available to you. Okay. There we go. All right. Thank you very much for coming by. I appreciate it. Again, like, please subscribe if you can, if you want to, and share. And let me know if there's other subjects that you want. And like I said, I have a running list, and I just pull things off when I'm feeling inclined to do it. Yeah. And I will see you soon. Take care.